What up, babies? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. This is going to be a Fennec, or as it's known, the Vector, best ways to play video. I've been using it for the last 2 days. I've taken it from level 0 to 54, which is the max level. And I'm just going to share with you my experience and, you know, help you on your way to leveling up this beast. That is the short review. It's a beast. The mobility is incredibly high with this weapon. The fire rate is also the highest, I think, in the entire game. It's over 1,000. But yeah, obviously there are a few drawbacks, which are the fire rate, meaning it's going to use a lot of ammo very quickly, and also the range, especially before you kind of level this thing up, which in the background I haven't quite yet unlocked the barrel. So strictly close quarters at the moment. You'll see on screen now I've unlocked the monolithic suppressor and the 5mm laser, which helped with the recoil. In terms of progression, once you start off, I recommend using the Cronen sight. This is obviously for better target acquisition and to make sure that you start to get used to the gun before using the iron sights. I would recommend trying to learn the iron sights, fairly quickly. As you progress to the middle level, which you can see on screen now, you'll unlock attachments which obviously tend to help you at the medium to longer ranges, the monolithic suppressor, the grips, etc. But for the initial part, I wouldn't recommend bothering to engage with medium to longer ranges. I would focus on using the Cronen sight to learn how the weapon behaves, and once you start to master it, towards the middle and upper levels, then I would recommend swapping out the sight for other attachments. As you get towards the higher levels, you'll be able to use the longer barrels and the grips that speed your aim down sight, etc. But initially you want to be kind of working the map and avoiding longer ranges, gunfights, and sticking to close to medium range. So in terms of the overall usage of the weapon, you want to use it with a sidearm. I was using it with the Renetti pistol. This is because the clip will often run out, and you'll be left reloading, which on this weapon is incredibly slow, so it's much faster to start switching to your sidearm. It's much faster to switch to your pistol, and that's something that I got used to doing as I experienced the weapon. You'll see, around level 40 or so, I started to understand how it worked, etc. When you're on the lower levels to the middle levels, you want to be using either Scavenger or fully loaded, especially if you're typically a better player and you're not getting killed as often, as like I say, the ammo will run out. And then once you get to the higher levels, you can start swapping those out for your regular Ghost or EOD perks that you're typically used to running. So there are a total of 5 must-have attachments for this weapon. The first one is the mercenary foregrip, which improves your vertical recoil and also your hip fire. The second one is the 40-round magazine, which, like I say, you start on 25 rounds, and you want to work it into every single loadout that you can, because it's just so important, I find, when you're coming up against 2 enemies, or obviously especially if you're in war zone. The next one is the Stippled grip tape, which increases your aim down sight and sprint to fire speeds, meaning that you pull up your sights quicker, making this weapon even more viable in closer ranges, as these speeds are already fast, but as far as I can remember, that makes it the fastest in the game, so it's very, very useful. The second to last pair of attachments are the Deadfall barrel, which you'll see on screen here, which adds sound suppression, range, bullet velocity, and recoil. So you're going to be having a much better time with engagements, especially at the longer ranges, as you can see here on screen as well. So that's basically it for like the attachments or so. I have some builds coming up in a second, but the final thing I want to reiterate to you is not to engage in longer range gunfights, because you will lose, especially coming up against like M4s, Growls, even MP5s. You will lose to all of those. The only thing that you'll lose to in closer ranges is sometimes the MP5 and also obviously shotguns. But other than that, you should be able to win most close range gunfights. And that's something that I did realize, is I was winning gunfights that I wasn't used to winning, and yeah, sometimes I felt like I didn't deserve to win. So you know, maybe this gun's overpowered, or maybe it's just, you know, it's very situational. As like I say, at longer ranges, this gun doesn't perform well at all. So in terms of the ratings for this, it's not versatile. I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. I would tell you to strictly stick to close quarters engagement, and use as is intended. Even, you know, double kills close range aren't an issue, but as you start pushing the range outwards, it will start to be an issue for you. Soon we'll talk about the different builds that I've made. I've made 3. I've made one for stealth, one for aggressive play, and one for defensive play. But I would definitely think about partnering this in Warzone with like a Growl or a M4, or maybe even a sniper rifle that, you know, you can use longer ranges. And here we have the builds. The first one that I'm going to show you is the aggressive build. I would partner this typically with, you know, the perks like double time, high alert, or amped. I've even removed the suppressor because, you know, when you're playing well, you don't necessarily need stealth. So you'll see the attachments here that I'm running through. Once again, the Stippled grip tape is something you need to be using. Mercenary foregrip, the 40 round, the 5mm laser, and the Apex. I believe all of them were in the must-have attachments for this. Next up we have the stealth build, which again, I'm going to be using the Deadfall barrel, which is damage range, recoil control, bullet velocity, and suppression, of course. Partner that with the 5mm laser, the mercenary foregrip, 40 rounds, and the Stippled grip tape. Finally, the defensive build, starting with the monolithic suppressor, which will obviously be defensive for you. The Cronen sight, which allows for better target acquisition. Like I say, if you're playing against a particularly difficult team, then you need that kind of assistance. And then also I partner that with the fully loaded, so you get maximum starting ammunition. There we have it, my babies. Here are my custom builds for the Fennec, the aggressive, stealth, and defensive setups. By all means, go back and pause the video if you need a bit longer to look at how I build these out. Let me know if you like the video, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you on the next one.